one of the main problems is actually trying to get a job. People with a foreign-sounding name are often not even invited to an interview and never have a chance of getting their first foot in the door.
It can be once the person is recruited in terms of the terms and conditions that are given to the person, if they are different to other people on the grounds of the person's race or ethnicity.
On voit que la problématique est réelle, que la prise de conscience n'est toujours pas là et qu'il y a évidemment énormément de travail à faire, surtout pour d'abord la prise en considération de l'importance de la non-discrimination et parfois de la prise de conscience de pratiques dont les personnes, en tout cas, n'ont pas une conscience immédiate du caractère illégal, même de l'existence même de la pratique.
One of the biggest complaints was the lack of reporting in cases of discrimination, and I think that's maybe where we should start to find out, well, why aren't people reporting cases of discrimination? And the biggest reason is that they don't think that there's going to be any change if they do report it.
And it is very essential to have the collaboration around information and accessing, reaching out to communities and to individuals. This is, I would say, one of the weaknesses and challenges for national equality bodies, is actually to ensure that citizens and minority groups are aware of their rights, and when they do, feel the trust and the courage to actually come forward when discrimination happens. The collaboration between NGOs and equality bodies is essential because NGOs do have that trust and that legitimacy in accessing the minority groups themselves.
The main point that we have is the anti-discrimination legislation of 2000. And apparently some of the conclusions from today is that this is not enough, and this is often the case in history. We need to do more. And one of the issues is to work on what the European Union is currently working, which are the austerity measures and also employment measures. And what we've been saying for the last 10 years is that in order to increase employment, you also need to combat discrimination so that people can work.
It's not enough just to have legislation. We need to make sure that the legislation is transposed into the different national contexts of the EU countries. We need to make sure that once they are transposed, then they are implemented properly in those countries, that people are aware of the legislation, that people have access to redress. It's not enough just to have the legislation, that people are not able to access the legislation.
Les outils, nous les avons, mais il y a très souvent un problème de preuve, parce que les victimes de discrimination doivent apporter la preuve, ce qui n'est pas toujours évident. Et on a beau avoir toutes les plus belles législations du monde, à un moment, s'il n'y a pas une mentalité collective de la société, des acteurs, des engagements concrets dans les entreprises, par les dirigeants, par les personnes qui s'occupent de ressources humaines, de vraiment mener une politique active en la matière, on rate l'objectif.
Initially in 2008, ENAR started to really get involved in a discussion with the employers. Realizing that you can be, as an NGO, saying that discrimination is bad, as long as you don't start to convince the people that are actually employing ethnic minority people and migrants that they need not to discriminate them to benefit from their skills, their capacities, their creativity. If we don't discuss with them and try to convince them of the soundness of our approach, then simply we don't change things.
Yeah, it's very important that companies are here and that they see that it's important to fight discrimination, because only with both companies, trade unions and the NGOs working together can we hope to make some progress.
We all have different ways of doing things. We all have different experiences, and with that we can sit down, look at it and find working solutions.
To be able to face discrimination from a business perspective, how to refuse a discriminatory order. And this was really an important step to give some tools, to give some answers and counseling to our people, to be able to resist to discrimination.
Aller plus loin, plutôt vers une sensibilisation de l'employeur pour attacher toute l'attention qu'il fait à sa dimension de gestion de ressources humaines qui tient compte justement de la diversité des travailleurs.
The dialogue that we've been establishing with companies, this so-called multi-stakeholders dialogue, and also with the European institutions, the EU trade unions and so on, over the last 3 years actually has started to really bring benefits, and we are developing good outputs and good reflections, and we wanted also to sell them. So that's also one of the aims of the conference.
Et je pense que c'est des grandes sources d'inspiration pour des politiques nouvelles, d'avoir ces échanges de bonnes pratiques, d'être conforté aussi dans une approche ou de découvrir une problématique qu'on n'avait peut-être pas perçue dans son propre pays. Donc je pense que ça fait vraiment avancer les choses.
Well, this conference is an opportunity to take stock of progress, and in some cases obviously the lack of sufficient progress, and to exchange ideas about the way forward.
Here we create a safe space where people can really, where we leave time to the people to express what they do, and we are not, you know, in a kind of you are accused of doing something and then you have to reply, and we end up in trying two different positions and in one way or the other. So it's not productive at the end of the day.
I expect a way forward. I expect to leave Brussels today with a vision of how we're going to start to work properly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.